Good morning again, and welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. My name is Elaine Brooks, and I am serving as our worship associate today. For those of you with visual impairment, I am an older woman with short brown hair and brown eyes, and I am wearing it's kind of a brown and gold shirt and black pants. And we are in our sanctuary, which is such a beautiful, beautiful space with these paintings, these Innes paintings, which are just, I can't really describe them, they're so beautiful. For the benefit of those with hearing impairment, we ask that anyone speaking today speak clearly and project. We want to acknowledge that here at the church, we are standing on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. We offer a warm welcome to the guests who are with us today. We would like to get to know you better and hope that you will join us following the service for a coffee hour and refreshments. Also, located near you, in your seats, you will notice cards with the QR code for our website printed on them. And they look like this. If you would like to know more about this congregation, please fill out this card and we will be in touch with you. Our mission states we are a liberal faith community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. Our guest speaker today is Erin Powers. They are a religious educator and aspirant for Unitarian Universalist ministry living near Tampa, Florida. They are inspired by our interconnectedness woven throughout humanity and the greater living world. We are glad to welcome Erin's return. The service today is titled Murmurations. Isn't that a great word, murmurations? How we move forward together. Our music today is provided by our wonderful music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and our choir has the day off today. So welcome again, we're glad you're here.
Our first hymn is in the teal hymnal, and it's number 1063. And you may sit or you may stand, whatever you feel like doing. 1063, I will play it through one time and then we'll sing.
Sister and brother, songs of our mother. Good morning, everyone. As Elaine said, my name is Erin Powers, and I am a middle-aged, non-binary person with brownish-gray hair. I'm wearing rainbow glasses, and I've got a greenish aqua tie-dyed scarf on with my sleeveless top. Our opening words today are by Pat Uribe Lichty. We gather, we bring our sorrows, our disappointments, our failures. We gather for healing, for laughter, and to rejoice. We gather to find new ways of loving, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. We gather, yes, always we gather, for it is in gathering that we find hope.
We will now light our chalice, and for those of you who've watched many of us struggle with the lighter for a long time, it breathed its last breath today, so we had a little burial ceremony for it. So now we go the old-fashioned way. So much easier. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. We will now read together our congregation's covenant, which is on the screen. So please join me as we read it. We strive to look for and encourage the best in each other as we move toward justice, peace, and love for both ourselves and the world. And when we fall short, we will seek understanding, reconciliation, and a return to covenant.
And at this time, please pick up your gray hymnal if you need it, and we will sing 1, 2, 3 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life.
Our story this morning is called The Journey of the Birds. This is inspired by the ancient epic poem, The Conference of the Birds, by the Persian Sufi Muslim writer Fariduddin Attar. Once upon a time, all the birds in the land decided they needed a leader for their community. A leader, they thought, would make their community stronger. Representatives of all the bird species gathered to discuss finding a leader. A leader will tell us the right thing to do, said the robin. Our leader must be wise, said the owl. A leader must believe we each are important, big and small, said the sparrow. I want the leader to be caring, like a friend, said the dove. Yes, the leader will help us share and get along better, said the jay. The leader must make us feel safe, said the hawk. Well, I know where we can find such a leader, said the hoopoe bird. It is the smorg, and it lives far from here. The birds were very excited. They said they were willing to go anywhere to find such a leader. It might be dangerous, said the hoop owl. A few birds looked troubled, but all the birds voted to go find the smorg. The hoop owl took off, and all the birds followed. They flew at night, they flew in sunshine. Days and days passed. Some birds got tired and left the group. Other birds were filled with doubt. How did they know the smorg really existed? Only the hoop owl had ever heard of this bird. Some of the doubters dropped out, but others kept flying. One valley was filled with fiery mountains. All the birds were afraid. I'm too small to make it over that mountain, lamented the sparrow. No, keep flying. We can make it together. We will help you. And they did. The strong flyers helped the weaker flyers. The birds with good vision helped find food for the group. And along the journey, the birds learned how to better respect, share, and care for each other. It seemed that every bird had something special and unique to offer that made the journey easier. Finally, the hoop owl announced, "We are here." The other birds looked around in anticipation. "Where is the smorg? We don't see it," they cried. "Come, it is over here," said the hoop owl. The birds stood beside hoop owl and realized they were on the edge of a lake. They looked in and saw their own reflections. Then they understood. The smorg was not another bird. The smorg was all of them, and all of them were the smorg. They remembered that each of them had something good and strong and special inside of them, and that each bird had gifts to bring to the community. They were all that was needed to keep the community strong. They knew now that together they could do anything. And with that, our story ends, and now we will sing out our children to their programming.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now is the time in the service when we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. 4 times a year, we have a special purpose collection selected by the Rainbow Welcome Circle, which coordinates our social justice initiatives. For the month of December, money designated for the special collection will be donated to support the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Foundation, a nonprofit here in Tarpon Springs. The foundation is dedicated to affirming MLK's vision of liberty, fairness, and equity for everyone. You may make checks out to UUCTS Memo MLK. Checks can be mailed or put in this Sunday's offering. For those present, there are labeled envelopes in the pews to donate cash. Those of you joining us from home can donate to the scholarship fund on our website, uutarpon.org. Click the donate button, then select Social Justice, Give the Plate.
So our meditation this morning has a video of starlings in murmuration. So get comfortable, but don't close your eyes. And this is by the Reverend Joan Javier Duval. Holy Mystery, silent presence, uncertain bearer of the weight of it all. In these quiet moments, we listen. We listen for the maybe still breathing, perhaps still whispering, faintest sign of the universal good. We listen between the cacophony of distractions, pulling us towards untruth and falsehood. We listen amidst the shrill cries of desperation, of we've had enough, of when will they stop killing my people, of how much more will the waters rise, and when will it be safe to return to my home, of how much longer can I hang on. We listen and we wait. Through the tumult of these days, we seek assurance. We seek the fulfillment of a promise made to ourselves, a promise made to those we have been stretched to call neighbor, a promise written and enshrined and yet unfulfilled. Help us, abiding mystery, to hang on, to hold on when all is in question, when all is in doubt. Help us to stay firm in our own commitments and our own promises. Lead us back into connection, back into the bonds of humanity that help us to know each other as beloved. May we continue listening. May we keep watch. May we beckon love and justice and mercy with our own whispers, with our shouts, with our cries, until all know themselves part of the circle of love. Amen. Thank you, tech team. And now, if you'll please join me for a moment of silence. Our reading is the poem Starlings in Winter by Mary Oliver. chunky and noisy, but with stars in their black feathers. They spring from the telephone wire, and instantly they are acrobats in the freezing wind. And now, in the theater of air, they swing over buildings, dipping and rising. They float like one stippled star that opens, becomes for a moment fragmented, then closes again. And you watch and you try, but you simply can't imagine how they do it with no articulated instruction, no pause, only the silent confirmation that they are this notable thing, this wheel of many parts that can rise and spin over and over again, full of glorious life. Ah, world, what lessons you prepare for us, even in the leafless winter, even in the ashy city. I am thinking now of grief and of getting past it. I feel my boots trying to leave the ground. I feel my heart pumping hard. I want to think again of dangerous and noble things. I want to be light and frolicsome. I want to be improbable, beautiful, and afraid of nothing, as though I had wings.
This is the year for making changes. This is the year for moving on. This is the year for overcoming. This is the year for growing strong. This is the year that my new way of thinking. This is the year for making plans. This is the year for reaching out. And this is the year for joining hands. This is the year that I put into action all my resources and all my means. This is the year that I follow my passion, all my desires and all my dreams. This is the chance to renew my commitment. This is the time to be conscious and clear. This is the moment for living fully. This is the year, this is the year. This is the year, this is the year. This is the year.
Thank you, Bonnie. Always on point as usual. So here we are at the end of yet another unprecedented year. I know I don't need to list out all the unexpected and unwelcome events of this past year, especially the final months of this year, for you to understand that 2024 has been a lot. And besides all of these significant events happening outside this community, you also had an eventful year. You said goodbye to one minister, and you welcomed in a new one. Changes in ministerial leadership always come with a mix of joy and sorrow, and we hold them both. These changes also bring new energy and excitement about the future. Every time the dynamics shift in our community, we are opened up to new futures and new possibilities. We can feel both excited and anxious. And we hold these feelings along with our joy and our sorrow. And while it is generally positive, it is still a lot. And as this new year is quickly arriving on our doorstep, many of us are having mixed feelings about opening the door. We might be trying to size it up through the peephole. We might be trying to pretend we aren't home. And personally, I don't know anyone who is eager to see what this coming year has in store for us. And our fears and our worries are not unfounded, though many of us wish they were. We have some idea of what this year could be like, and many of us are filled with anxieties and worries, but the new year will be here regardless. And we've had our time to grieve and process, and now it is time for action. The question we now face is, how will we approach it? How will we resist the overreaches of power? How will we protect the vulnerable? And how will we keep working for justice and equity for all? And how will we center love through it all? I propose we consider starlings as an example, and more specifically, the murmurations they create each evening. Murmuration, besides being a really fun word to say, is a term specific to starlings and describes their evening displays of swooping, diving, flowing flight. And the term murmuration comes from the murmuring sound that comes from the wing beats and soft chattering of thousands and thousands of starlings flying together. Scientists aren't exactly sure how starlings accomplish these mesmerizing acrobatic displays. They once thought it might be through animal telepathy. However, the current theory is that starlings focus on the 7 or so birds closest to them. They rely on those closest to them to help guide them and connect them to the rest of the flock. Each starling follows the cues of its neighbor, similar to the way that we humans pass a wave around a stadium at a sports event. And as a side note, when I was growing up in Texas, my family liked to go to Texas Ranger baseball games. And as someone who has never, ever really been into sports, my favorite part of the games was doing the wave. And I think it's because there's such a joy in being able to easily participate in community. And looking back, I can see the subtle foreshadowing to where I am today. A minister in training that works to build community and marvels at the interconnectedness of humanity and the greater living world. And I just love how murmurations offer a visual for how our interconnected web of existence works. In the undulating movements of starlings, we can see how small actions can create massive waves of change. And we can see how we can create massive waves of change by doing what we can where we are. We are not powerless, and the actions we take affect our world both near and far. And so often, we want to make big changes right now in our world, especially when faced with big problems. Yet we know that trying to do it alone is next to impossible. But we also know that together, we can do amazing things. And when starlings move in a murmuration, they do amazing things. They become something greater than the sum of their parts. They are not just a flock of birds careening through the sky. There is a purpose and an intention to their evening aerial gathering. They are signaling to other starlings that they are gathering for the evening. They are signaling that they have found a safe place to roost for the night. They are sharing information with each other about where to find food and how to stay safe. And I can't help but think that they are also having fun, using up the last bits of energy before they settle down for the evening, and warming their bodies so they can share that warmth together through the chilly night. In times of distress, we instinctively seek out community. And since the election, there's been an increase in attendance at many progressive churches, including our own UU congregations. Our reputation as welcoming and safer spaces has helped those seeking the spiritual and moral support of religious community find us. And if there is anyone attending here today that's found a home here recently, we're so glad you're here. You help make our community stronger, safer, and more vibrant. And however, we cannot rely solely on our reputation. We must actively and continually send out beacons of welcome. We must actively and continually make ourselves known in our community. Starlings do their murmurations nightly, and they typically last for about 45 minutes. And as more starlings join, the murmuration grows larger and larger. Their thriving and surviving relies on a commitment to making sure that the starlings of that area know where the flock is roosting for the evening. Safety in numbers is important when you are a small bird. And each evening, as the starlings swoop, glide, and dive through the sky, they are also moving throughout the flock. There is no fixed position within the murmuration. There are no outer margins or centered privileged places. Every member of the flock moves fluidly and freely through every part. The invitation to join and be fully involved and embraced is vital to the starling flocks. There is a spirit of collaboration rather than competition. And as a people striving to abolish oppressions while living within an oppressive culture, it is our call and our duty to bring the margins to the center. Our congregations can be a place where we reject oppressive norms and live our values in our practices and in our welcome. The size and structure of your flock is also important when considering the work of building and sustaining community. As anyone who has worked in leadership in any capacity knows, it can be an all-consuming mission. Even a labor of love can be too much when only a select few are involved. We must make it easy and accessible for people to be involved in our community. Sometimes our leadership structures get in the way of this. But seeking wisdom from different styles of organizational leadership and structure, can help us discern how well our structures are working. Starlings offer an example of truly decentralized leadership. Each bird has the opportunity to influence the whole, and each bird has a responsibility to pay close attention to the birds closest to it. In this system, power and responsibility are equally shared, and neither is hoarded by or dumped on any one member of the flock. And while the dynamics and complexity of a starling flock are very different from a UU congregation, this leadership model can inspire us to ask important questions. Where is power held in our congregation? Where is responsibility held? Are they balanced? We live in a culture that purposefully hoards power upward and distributes responsibility downward. This intentionally oppressive structure shows up in all sorts of places, even in our congregations. It's rarely intentional, but it's the water we're swimming in. It's how so many of us were raised. It's how many of our jobs are structured. It's everywhere. And one thing that is so awesome about our UU faith is that it encourages us to reject tools of oppression and bravely forge new ways of moving forward. There is no one right way to do so, but the collective leadership model of starlings can be a source of inspiration. Trying out different ways of organizing ourselves and our congregations can be a lot of work. Yet it is in that work that we build the world we dream about. It is in that often mundane and sometimes tedious work that we strengthen our bonds to each other, and we create a safe haven that is ready and willing to welcome in others seeking the same. And it's important that we also consider the full picture of the life of starlings. These murmuration displays attract a lot of attention. Certainly from us humans, as we marvel at the entrancing movements of the starlings. I could watch these for hours. But for the starlings, they can also attract birds of prey. And when we, as a progressive faith community, are visible and vocal, we can attract protesters and intimidation attempts. But one of the ways that we care for each other is by being prepared for both positive and negative attention. For starlings, their unpredictable movements serve another purpose. They make it more difficult to be caught by larger birds of prey. Plus, they have plenty of help from their fellow birds who can go on the offensive. And although it is not foolproof and the circle of life continues on, but we can learn from starlings to consider how we will deal with negative attention and how to keep our community safer. Fortunately, in our UU communities, we are not a part of a food chain, and we do not need to think in terms of collateral damage. We can work to keep everyone safe. In our UU communities, we strive for physical, emotional, and spiritual safety. It is one of the ways we center love. And like the starlings, we can work to keep everyone safe by paying attention to those closest to us and building relationships of care and concern. We can work to keep everyone safe by enacting practices and policies with safety and well-being in mind, just as the starlings do their murmurations to invite others to safety. And we must also keep in mind that even with all the best practices and policies, harm still sometimes occurs. Planning in advance for how to handle harms when they occur can go a long way towards building safe and healthy communities. And in this coming year, we are going to need safe and healthy community more than ever. And while none of us would have chosen the challenges we have facing us in the coming year, we also have the opportunity to confront these challenges with intentionality, care and concern for each other, and with love at the center. Our Unitarian Universalist faith offers spiritual guidance for resisting oppression and for forging a path forward that can sustain and uplift us. This coming year will require us to put our faith into action in even more ways than we have in the past. We have a wealth of wisdom to carry us through, including the wisdom of starlings and their nightly murmurations, beckoning us to become even safer and more inclusive in our welcome, and inspiring us to create a way forward that carries our spirits and bodies through the challenges ahead. May we soar, may we thrive, and may we find joy in doing so. And may it be so.
Our hymn at this time is number 1015 in the Teal book. 1015, I Know I Can. The day
And I leave you with these words from the Reverend Rebecca Savage. We have come to the end of our service, but not our calling in the world. We close our time together with the humble reminder that justice and equity are our spiritual practices to embrace. Each day, every day, we are blessed to be the embodiment of what is possible. When justice and equity ground us in all that we do, may we go forth with the light and warmth of our chalice in our hearts until we are together again.
Our final song of the service is Auld Lang Syne, and please go ahead and sing with me. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of auld lang syne? Poor auld lang syne, my dear, poor auld lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for auld lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and I'll take a hand of thine. We'll drink a cup of kindness yet for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for auld lang syne.
We hope you found meaning in today's service. I know I am very inspired by your sermon today. And I will always think of us as murmurators, or however that word might be. But it's important for us to remember what we each bring to our community. Oh, that's interesting. The hole isn't big enough for this to get on the flame. We close with these words from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. We are showered every day with gifts, but they are not meant for us to keep. Their life is in their movement, the inhale and the exhale of our shared breath. Our work and our joy is to pass along the gift and to trust that what we put out into the universe will always come back.